Hey, I'm Oxnard.
I'm Dexter.
I'm Boss.
Hello, everybody.
We're all recording from different parts of the world.
Oh, yes.
I'm across
Very
the
close
sea,
parts of the world, though.
farthest of easts.
We all have a business trip. I'm in China currently. Dexter, where are you?
Antarctica, currently. I'm hunkered down in a science bunker. I've been performing a number of experiments, mostly just trying to figure out how they get that coating onto Advil. And I decided to come down here, was invited, got a government grant to do it.
Doing God's work.
Yeah, well, it was Ecuadorian government gave me the grant, and because they want to know, how does Advil do this? And Advil won't tell them. It's like some kind of locked up secret or something. I don't understand it. But
Boss,
anyway, I'm
where are
down
you?
here. It's cold outside.
I'm in
What?
central northwest Siberia.
Highlands.
No.
The lower part
no,
of the Highlands.
No,
The low
Siberia,
highlands.
not Highlands.
I'm surprised you have reception out there. I'm surprised I have reception too. And by reception, I mean internet.
I make it work.
Well, boss, would you like to
constructed a
lead?
satellite myself.
Why are we all
I
here?
will lead. First of all, for the record, I'm not naked right now.
Okay.
All right. Well, for the record, I am.
Here we go.
And I'm half naked.
Because we don't know. Because we're over the internet.
Half my body is clothed. No, lower half? Upper half, you ask? No. Half. Talking vertically.
Okay,
I'm
so
just wearing a hat.
Half a shirt, half pants.
I've seen the
I've just
episodes.
got a cowboy hat on in the spirit of this discussion.
I've seen the
Go ahead,
episodes
boss.
3 times, so I must.
Well, what are we talking about, boss?
I must.
We're talking about...
Have some familiarity with how it starts. Here we go. So,
People have no idea what we're talking about yet.
No, they're
are
just
you
liking
listening?
our
Are
conversation.
you listening? Here's how it begins. So, starts out. Dolores.
What starts out?
What starts out?
Episode 1 of Westworld, season 1.
Oh.
Westworld. Welcome to this
yes.
discussion about Westworld. We're going to be
Westworld.
talking about, watching and talking about the new series on HBO, Westworld, based on Michael Crichton's previous work. There was a book, I believe, and then a movie, Oxnard, correct?
No, he in 1973 he wrote a script and then he directed it for a TV movie, which I saw when I was really little. I don't think it was ever a book though, but I have vague memories of it. Boss, you were saying like you were reading up on it. There was also like a Roman world and a medieval world or something.
Mm-hmm.
I vaguely remember that, but I remember not really liking it. But I was a dumb kid when I saw it.
Well, no,
so,
I don't think it was very good.
I looked it up. It actually has a pretty good score on IMDb and
Oh,
stuff.
really?
So.
I'm assuming it wasn't good. Moving on. So,
Yes.
Anyway, so that's what we're talking about.
Episode 1 starts out with
Just
this
don't let
girl,
boss speak.
this girl next door, Dolores Abernathy, who wakes up in her bed. And she walks downstairs past her daddy on the porch on his rocker, and
Say hello to your daddy.
they make some small talk. She goes off
His name is Peter.
every day. Yes, Peter Abernathy. She goes off every day, does her errands, and she...
What kind of errands is she doing?
I have no idea, Dexter. They didn't get into that.
Well,
but
I
know
thought
that
you
she
watched it
paints.
twice.
She paints.
She paints. She likes horses.
I guess I don't even know if she has anything to do with the herd, but she gets that one little can of something every time she goes to town.
Which he
Yeah,
always
what was
dropped.
that can of? I assumed it was... I
Salve.
never thought about
Is it peas?
Yeah, I thought it was beans or something.
Maybe it's
I'm gonna look
beans.
up
But it-
canned goods in the Old West.
It's a real
It's
small
like
can. I mean,
Shoe polish?
what could it be? I mean, I don't know.
That's the real mystery. I bet that can, because, they keep dropping it. There's, it keeps repeating that part where she's dropping the can and somebody keeps picking it up.
Oh, it's a
And
script.
I bet the can itself bears, the contents of that can, I bet are going to surprise us with their significance.
I doubt it.
No, just wait. That can is like the hatch in Lost. J.J. Abrams has to have something secret canned up.
Right. So should I just sum up the whole show, sort of? What it's about?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically,
Yeah.
Westworld is a fantasy
This is
world.
I just wanted to mention. I'm sorry. This is Jonathan Nolan, Chris Nolan's brother.
I think they're half brothers, or Something like that, because
Okay.
he has an American accent, I think. Christopher Nolan's British, right?
And his wife.
Yeah.
Or
J.J.
maybe
Abrams is one of the producers, I think.
Yeah. Maybe Christopher Nolan fakes that affectation. Maybe just puts it on. He just throws a scarf on and a British accent. And he's
He's
like,
taking a hint from, what's that guy? Who played Batman?
Stanley. What's that? Christian Bale?
Christian Bale, yeah. Doesn't he switch accents every other movie or something?
But I think he is British.
Yeah, but then in interviews he'll have like an American accent.
Oh,
which
that's
is just-
because he's a method. He's all about the method, Oxnard.
Oh, okay.
No, that's true.
You?
Oh, good.
Yes, boss.
Anyway,
Right. So this is a fantasy world where.
Well,
I
it's a sci-fi world.
You want to take a second
is
to let
never
me
gonna-
fucking explain it? Sick
is
Oxnard.
It's science fiction. There's no fantasy about it.
It is a
Well, the people, the
fantasy
characters are living out a fantasy.
world, and it is in the distant future. We don't know how far in the future. We would assume it's probably far in the future. Maybe it's a completely different universe. Who knows?
The original took
I
place
say
in
near.
1983, which I thought was funny.
Well, this is not the original. It is a new one. Who knows when it takes place? Anyway,
I bet it's 2050, somewhere around there. That's my guess.
basically they made this huge theme park where it's basically the old west, and the super rich can pay and visit. We don't know how long they visit. Maybe it's a day, maybe it's a couple hours, maybe it's several days.
I think it's a week. I would guess.
I
a
bet,
week.
too, at this point in the future, they probably moved. There's another class beyond super rich that's probably ultra rich.
Right.
The
And
ultra
Anthony
rich are
Hopkins
probably doing
says,
this.
like, humanity, we've, even though, Boss, you said they never really said humanity in the show, I forget, but he says, like, we've cured all diseases and cancer,
Right.
all this stuff, so they're basically in, like, a Star Trek-esque future.
I don't think he
where, like,
says humanity, though.
He does? Oh, yeah, because I was going to say, they always say, are you... They don't say, are you human? They always say, are you real?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was curious.
Yes. So basically, super rich pay to go to this world, and the world is entirely populated with robots who go about basically this script. Every time new guests, they call them, enter the park, the robots do the same script, and the robots are called the hosts.
the
and
hosts, yes.
Basically, the premise here is that some robots are beginning to remember. So instead of repeating...
Reveries, Boss.
Yes, the reveries. Instead of repeating the script each time new newcomers come without remembering what happened to them, because the robots basically get killed and fucked by the guests, and all kinds of crazy shit happens. Now they're starting to remember.
And I also like the further you go, like they say kids shouldn't go beyond the river, because that's when it gets more adult.
Yes.
And people who go all the way to the end of the world, that's where like the real nitty-gritty violent stuff happens.
From what we've seen before, from these two episodes, I would say the whole thing is very adult. I mean, even if I
it
was
does
saying
seem like that.
I'm telling my wife, "Oh, bye, honey, I'm just going off to Westworld to have some fun with my buddies." Like it's
Fuck
basically
that.
just like you're paying to have sex with androids.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're paying to have sex with silicon and mannequins. I don't understand.
Hey, man.
I wonder how they really. They don't show how they make those
If
parts.
you can't tell if they're real, does it matter?
Like, do they have? What I'm interested to know is you just see they have like these dipping mechanisms where they're dipping these skeletal structures in this material that
3D print.
creates the layers, right? Yeah, and I mean, but how do they get all the parts about like secretions of the human body, blood, saliva?
I think it's all like a biomechanism. I think
like-
they are that real.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking about. They're having sex with these things. How is this happening? Do people have to bring their own lube? Is that a thing of Westworld?
I'm sure
in
they're
the fine print?
self-lubing.
I think it's implied that they're so real, it's exactly like a real human.
Yeah, and I like when
yeah.
the introduction to Anthony Hopkins, his character, when they go down into where they put the robots that don't work anymore, and he's having a conversation with that old robot, and he's very jittery in the way he's moving. I thought that was a really cool effect.
He was cool.
Oh yeah, because he was older. Yeah, that was really cool.
He was an awesome robot.
See, and also watching it, because they said the park has been around for at least 30 years, because he said there was some incident that happened 30
Yes.
years ago or something. So part of me was thinking, like, is that in reference to the original movie? Like, is this canon with that movie, or was that just like a little something?
How long has Ed Harris been going there? He says 20 years or 30?
No, he says
30.
that he's basically when he's with Dolores, he says, hold on. Any way to treat an old friend? Seems you're not the. He says any way to treat an old friend. Yeah, he says basically he was there 30 years. I forget the line. I didn't
Okay.
write that
See,
down.
because I wonder if he was involved in the accident.
Right.
Anyway,
I think that's
I'm jumping ahead.
no, but I think that's maybe something we should assume. Yeah.
Yeah. Put a pin in that for now,
Right.
because we can discuss that further after we go over quickly. As boss, we keep interrupting him, but he'll give us the quick once over of this plot here of this episode.
Right. So this robot Teddy, he pulls up into town on the train, gets off, and you're sort of thinking that this guy is a guest. And he walks through town, a robot shoulders him, gives him the look, and
Which happens every day, apparently.
right, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That
Somebody
robot
shoulders that
always
guy every
shoulders
time.
him. And
That's what he's programmed to do, is rudely
yes.
walk his shoulder into
That's
people
great.
and then
Maybe
like
it's
stare
actually-
them down like,
maybe-
hey, you're an asshole,
Maybe it's just
even
an
though I walked
employee
into you.
who likes doing that.
That's
He
what
does
the
that one
accident
thing,
was.
and then he has a heart attack behind a barn.
I don't understand, sir. We've changed the programming dozens of times. He just keeps doing it.
So Teddy, he goes in the bar, gets a glass of whiskey, talks to the hookers. He sees Dolores through the window across the street, goes to see her, makes small talk. She's like, hey, you're back? And he's like, I told you I'd be back. And they go out riding. They see her herd, the Abernathy herd, a steer, and she tells them how they know where they're going. They follow the leader of the herd, and they're on their way back to the Abernathy farm, and they hear some gunshots. And
Uh-oh.
Teddy rides up, and there's a couple of the bandits. Actually, when you go into town, you see the first part of the script you really see is one of the, I guess, the sheriff announcing that there's two bandits in the mountains and the hills.
Right.
And,
Then he picks up her can of motor oil or whatever she dropped, and then they're off and running. Now, did you notice when they get to the house and the bandits are there? Did you notice who one of the bandits were?
No.
was the guy from Back to
Trevor
the Future?
from GTA 5.
Oh, yes!
Oh, really?
Yes! That's the guy you play.
Yes. Yeah. The nut job guy.
Wow. Right.
That's hilarious. That's awesome.
Yes, I thought you would like that, boss.
Good
Anyway.
catch.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so they kill Peter Abernathy, the bandits, and then they talk about screwing his dead wife, and then Teddy comes along with his
Classic.
with his Winchester, kills both bandits, and Dolores
That was
comes
cool.
along, is crying over her father, and then the man
That's my
in black.
impersonation.
The man in black strolls up.
Man in black.
Who's this guy? I thought Teddy saved the day, or sort of. Not really. He's just a little late. Anyway.
Yeah. He saved half the day.
Apparently this man in black knows Dolores. He's glad to be back to Westworld, assuming that he was there previously.
I
And
think he was.
probably 30 years ago. He said something about 30 years
When he was
to her.
McCoyle.
And then Teddy wants to, fight him off, protect Dolores. But Teddy shoots. He can't hurt this guy. This guy's a guest. Robots, or not the robots, but hosts, we'll call them hosts, they can't hurt the guests. So he shoots them, bullets do nothing.
They do nothing.
And Teddy just kind of breaks down because he's helpless. And Man in Black ends up shooting him and dragging Dolores into the barn to do her. And he likes it
Well,
when
they
she
don't show
fights.
him ever doing any sexual stuff. It's implied.
Yes.
But
Quite
who knows what the
implied.
hell he's doing to her.
It's quite implied.
I'm pretty sure that's because you see what he does to the other people he interacts with. He's not... The only one he rapes is her.
Yes.
Does he, though? Think about it.
Yeah,
I think
well, maybe.
so.
I mean, but...
He probably does, but
That's another question.
the
Can
show
you
shows
rape a
all these
robot?
other sexual things going on, and I would think they would have showed that or something.
No, Ed Harris. He has a no naked clause.
Oh, okay. That's in his contract.
He's a never nude.
They'll do your
Like in
show.
Arrested Development.
Now, something. I think this episode. I guess this script, it restarts after that, and you see it starts again. You see Dolores in bed waking up, like nothing happened, and
Saying
you
hello to her dad, same thing.
you see Teddy again getting off the train in town, but there's also a couple new newcomers. This guy with a neckerchief and his wife, and the sheriff points to him when he walks into town. Hey, you want to go up in the hills, find the bandits? He's like, Hey, honey, what do you think? Let's do it. And
I hate that guy.
Oh boy!
Right.
Yeah, he was
What a
real
sucker.
douche.
I liked him though.
Who
because-
brings your wife? Why do you bring your wife to Westworld? It seems to me the whole point men go there is to bang
I don't know. I
and
guess
do
he could-
whatever they want to anybody.
Well, that's all they're showing us. That's the thing.
Here's the thing. Maybe he has no friends. He just had to go with his wife. He's like,
He doesn't look like a guy who has friends.
yeah, I know.
Maybe
exactly.
his wife is a host.
I don't think
Nah.
so.
Maybe
think it was-
maybe he got married to a host, all part of the game. Oh boy, I'm really playing.
Well, think about, in this world, if you can make robots this realistic, who's to say that in the real world there aren't robots
Well,
and people
exactly.
do marry them or something?
Well, that's one of the things that we are going to be discussing
Yes, definitely.
as part of this. Who may or may not be a robot outside of Westworld.
So basically, I actually like that character in Neckerchief because he's like a perfect example of the kind of rich,
Yeah.
idiots who would come there.
He's there's two kinds. There's him, and then there's the kinds like we'll talk about in the second episode.
Annoying frat guys who just want to fuck together in the same room, which I don't understand the appeal of.
hell?
Oh, that's also in the first episode. Those
Like
guys are
if
crazy.
the three of
We
us
would've
went to
done-
Westworld, would that be a thought? Like, hey guys, let's all in the same room get naked together and have sex with robots.
No.
What is the appeal there?
Right. I mean, we can all go have sex with robots. Fine, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, just
Trust
a
me, I'm okay with that.
Little
But-
privacy. That's all I'm
But
asking.
we'll have our own rooms.
I don't even want to be in the same building.
Right. So basically,
Yeah, I don't want to hear you guys. Oh, wow!
A very loud lovemaker.
Screaming,
Oh, God.
screeching.
the story follows the neckerchief guy. He goes with the sheriff and his posse to look for the bandits, and they're out. They find a body in the hills, and the sheriff starts malfunctioning. And,
Yeah, when a
Yes.
fly lands on his face.
right, and he
Which we'll
starts
talk about, too,
malfunctioning.
later.
And
Yes.
the neckerchief guy and his wife, they leave. They're like, oh, we're a little scared. What's going on here? And then it cuts to outside Westworld in the facility where they take care of all the robots, build the robots, and manage the robots. And the head of programming and his girl programmer friend they're examining.
It's Robert. Anthony Hopkins is Robert. Bernard is the guy with the glasses, and Teresa is like the other.
Yeah,
I
and
guess
the
she
guy.
decides who pulls the robots or
And-
something.
Elsie is
Hold
the
on, let me see something here. I gotta
Elsie
see
is
the
a
actor.
who's the lesbian? Elsie, who sexually assaults Dolores Bot.
yeah, she's a program too. So programmer.
Oh yeah, that was weird, right?
hot.
She randomly
and
kissed
Jeffrey-
Dolores.
Yeah, that's another indication of like people definitely getting it on with robots in the real world, whether they know it or not. But we'll get into that. But Jeffrey Wright is the actor that plays Bernard. He's been around for a long time. That actor is awesome.
He's
He's
good,
fucking
yeah.
awesome. If you haven't seen Boardwalk Empire, he's fantastic. He's in that later on. He plays.
I feel like he plays the
character,
same kind of
Narcisse.
guy.
What's that?
I feel like he plays the same kind of guy each time I see him.
No, watch Boardwalk Empire. He plays a completely different guy.
Uh,
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's a great actor. Anyway, I'm gonna sneeze in a second.
okay. Good luck.
Cool.
Oh, maybe not. I think it's going away.
Continue.
Continue. I just wanted to warn you.
So they're examining the sheriff. They're saying what's going on. The head of programming, Bernard, thinks it's the reveries. They're screwing up the robots. The last update for the host is messing them up. So he goes and talks to Anthony Hopkins about it, and he says, he loves the reveries, but there's an issue with them, and what's this other woman's name in charge? The HBIC. What's her name?
Teresa?
Teresa. So Teresa and Bernard, they're talking about, should we recall the robots? He's like, no, it's fine. And then the guy in charge,
Did you like the show, boss?
yeah, Lee.
They show this other guy.
Lee
Fuck it.
He's like,
Sizemore.
fuck it.
Lee Sizemore is this English guy who writes the storylines.
Oh, the overacting British
Yes,
douchebag.
yes.
Oh
And I
my
think
God, I
he's
fucking hate
probably
that guy.
It seems like he's in charge of like sales a little bit too.
He's like he's a creative.
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
freaking out.
he designs some of the storylines for these people. Like he's like a DM.
Right. Yeah. So they talk. The
How dare
woman.
you speak?
What the fuck is her name? Teresa wants to recall the robots, and then Lee is like, "No, what the fuck? You can't recall the robots. There's too many. It'll ruin all the storylines. It'll
I think
ruin
he
the
says,
experience."
10% of the robots have this new update, and he said that's 200, which...
Right.
So that means there's like 2,000 total robots?
Right.
Okay.
I guess so. Yeah. So then they decide not to recall them. Let's see what happens next. Oh, there's another issue. Another problem happens. The two bandits, one turns on the other and
Yes.
kills him, but he gets shot. Who knows by who? We don't know. And he's drinking milk, and he's alive, even though he got shot. He should be dying.
It's like a Looney Tunes...
Right. He drinks
cartoon.
milk. It flows out of his body, and then he pours it down his other bandit's head because he shot him
It
in
was
the head.
disgusting. Watching people drink milk like that
Milk
repulses
grosses
me.
me out.
Gross.
It
It was
just
gross.
repulses me. Ugh.
They were getting
There's
real
something
gross with
really,
their milk.
especially because it's warm. I don't like. Ugh.
Milk is
I
for
don't know.
babies. Milk is for babies.
I don't even. Maybe it's. I wonder if it's just. You can drink. You're not lactose intolerant, right, Oxnard? You can drink milk.
Yeah, I can drink it, but there's nothing to
You
it.
choose not to. Yeah. Like even for because I can't have it. It bothers my stomach. So I drink almond milk even for cereal. But
Oh, yeah, I love
the
almond
only
milk.
time I ever used milk, even before that happened, was in cereal. That was the only time. I would never drink a glass of milk. I find it absolutely disgusting. Watching people is even worse than me having to do it.
I don't mind watching people drink milk, but I never drink milk. Like, rarely ever.
Yeah, ugh. Especially when the one bandit he like spits it on the father.
Yeah, and he's spilling it all over himself. He's gonna stink.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing. Whenever I would pour myself a bowl of cereal and I'd get like milk on my fingers, I immediately wash my hands because if I smell the milk on my hands, like later on, I'm gonna be sick. It's disgusting. I don't know. I found that to be the most repulsive part of the episode.
Yeah.
So, then... I found this interesting because
That milk-aside brought to you by...
Right, the milk-aside happened. The bandit kills the other bandits, really scares his other guests because obviously he's malfunctioning because he should have died with all his gunshot wounds. And all of a sudden, the staff is all around the set. The robots freeze still, and then you see a ton of this. You see the security guys. You see maintenance in the background picking up dead robots. They're in like their lab suits, and you see a bunch of people examining the bandits. They're like suddenly, like instantly on the scene. I thought that was weird. Like how
It is
quick
How'd they get there?
And the thing I'm thinking, they never show like where this stuff is or what's going on. Because my feeling, I was having two thoughts. Maybe they're in space, or maybe they're deep underground.
Right.
But I don't know. That was trying
No,
to look
but
for
I don't
hints to
believe that. I don't think they are because in the first episode, doesn't Teresa go to an outdoor area
Yes,
to have a cigarette and
she also goes to Bernard's apartment, and you see
That's
the
in the
night
second
sky, but all you see are stars. So they're not really
Yeah.
giving an indication of like. But if they're able to create a fake world as realistic as Westworld, who's to say like the real world is also, I don't know.
You're right. You're right. You got a point there.
I think that the sky
Here
and
we
the
go.
sun and everything are real.
You think they would want chance that? Don't they want control of the weather?
That's the thing.
Like,
I
if it's
was gonna
cloudy?
say
Also, how do
maybe-
people get there?
I was
going
going
to
to say
it can't
that
be
maybe
too secretive.
they control the weather, but they don't. They just use the normal sun and stars.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are the things the show has to explain.
Now,
Here's the other thing, though. Here's the other thing. Let's not forget, they can't be too far into... Because we were talking about how far into the future this is. They can't be too far into the future because they're going back, with intimate detail about the Old West. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So who's to say Anthony Hopkins wasn't... Anthony Hopkinson's character wasn't a fan of spaghetti westerns, and all that kind of stuff when he was a kid. Just something to keep in mind. Anyway. Continue, boss. Sorry.
Something interesting about this part that you bring up is when the Teresa and Lee are talking. Lee is like, why do we keep updating these robots, just screwing everything up? We should just return them back. We should make them dumb. People don't want to think that they're doing somebody who's, like, real. They want the robots to be like robots and just, it's obvious that they're not real, that kind of thing. And she's like,
in the original movie, you could tell if someone was a robot by the way when you shook their hands. They shook their hands in a certain way.
Oh, yeah. Wait, so he was saying... What boss was that? He was saying that people want to fuck robots,
he's saying
people?
He's saying if you make them too real, people don't want to feel like they're fucking somebody who's real. They want to feel like they're fucking somebody who isn't. And killing somebody
because then
who isn't.
they can feel like they can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
I got
More of like a playground feel than like a actual world.
Right, because then all of a sudden their conscience comes into play.
Exactly. Yeah. And
now
she's
I had
like,
a question, boss. Like when when they come in because that bandit's drinking the milk and all that, what do you think they do for those two guests there? Like, do they get like a voucher? Do they get like a free day?
I don't know. Good question.
I bet they might have their minds wiped.
They might have money back.
Think so? Like, how much do you think it costs?
$40,000.
Really?
Wow, he was so fast with that response. He's either thought about it or he knows.
I don't know. I feel like I heard that number or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I feel like that's surprisingly cheap.
Yeah, especially if it's far in the future.
But maybe the value of money is different at this time too. It's $40,000. Maybe what they use for currency is like mind-blowingly expensive for our minds now. I had a question, but I forgot what it was.
Okay, so basically they're talking...
do you think that they have... I'm sorry, boss, hold on. Do you think that they...
No, you hold on!
They can't let these crazy incidents leak out because no one will want to come to Westworld anymore. So do you think they have some kind of mind-erasing science at this point?
I don't think so. I don't think people care that much.
Think so. Because they would have used it on the Man in Black.
I mean,
it's
no,
weird,
but only
like,
if something bad happens, though.
It's all about, how marketing PR is. Some guy will say, oh yeah, I almost died in Westworld, and they'll be like, no, those people are crazy, you don't know what they're talking about.
Or they'll be like, cool.
I asked you this, boss, like, what if, like, a child predator goes into Westworld, and all he wants to do is, like, kill and hurt kids? Like...
Do whatever he wants.
But isn't that a PR nightmare? Like, wouldn't that be, like...
No. They do whatever they want, the guests.
Would you go to a theme park where it's like, yeah, you might meet someone else who's there purely to touch the kids and kill them?
Man.
Hey, man, it's a Wild West.
I don't think they would allow that.
And the other thing is, would they be able to target other guests? Because there's nothing to... Because you can't even tell
they can't hurt
who
other
is a
guests.
guest or a host unless you basically,
they can't
try and kill them or fuck them.
They said that you can't... Like, at least
the guns only work.
Other guests.
Yeah, the guns don't, but what about penises?
What about the knives and punching?
Well, I'm assuming everything's surveilled all the time.
Yeah, but I can get to you faster than the person's gonna stop me. I can easily
we just saw
penetrate you.
because we just saw how they cleaned up the bandit scene. They were on that thing immediately with like 30 people.
Yeah, but after it was already done, the damage was done.
But that's the thing.
That's my point.
They could get on.
So, like,
the
some
scene
kid could easily get.
Well, then you're fucking arrested
killed.
and you're in jail. That's
Well,
how
that's
the real
true.
world works too.
But then it's a PR nightmare, like Oxnard said. Back to that. I'm not asking you to defend it. I'm just asking questions. You're being very defensive,
Well,
as
here,
if you have
I'm
stock.
moving
As
on.
if you have some kind of stock.
It seems to be like all the children robots. They're designed to, like, if violence is going on, they just like cower and run away. You know what I mean?
Except for one. But we'll get to that.
And then that's why the little kid gives the guy the gun. Because I think that was saying, like, no, you're not supposed to kill the kids. Like, if he's going to kill the mother or the daughter, the kid is making the choice, like, no, you're going to kill, you know?
I think it's, only natural for Oxnard to go there with the kid stuff, but I don't think the show's going to cover it.
This is what I'm thinking about when I'm looking.
I know.
I think it's a legitimate question.
It is, but I don't think they'll cover it.
All right, what happens next, boss?
Anyway, about the interaction between these two, Teresa and Lee, she's a smoker. That was interesting, because are they smoking real cigarettes in the future?
Oh, yeah.
Why not?
That's
a little
old
weird
disease.
to me. That's a little weird to me. I don't really get it.
Why isn't she vaping? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, but I guess at one point...
They're all drinking.
Anthony Hopkins, at one point, he says they've cured all diseases, so I guess there's no negative side.
So go to town.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'd start smoking again if that was the case. Why the fuck not? There's no consequences.
It would make me feel sick.
By the way,
the other thing, since we're bringing up smoking...
I think I figured out what the can is that... What? Oh, sorry, boss. Go ahead.
Head of programming wears glasses, which I thought was interesting. Oxnard said,
true.
Well, maybe it's just like a style choice.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's wearing glasses. They've cured...
Although,
I don't know. I mean, we can kind of do that now. You can get LASIK eye surgery. I'm not going to do that.
Exactly. So the glasses, I think Oxnard and I concluded that the glasses are either a style choice or they're like a tool. Like the one girl, I think it was the head of programming, she had special glasses on where she was looking at the cognition of the robot. Yes.
Now, if I may go back a second, the can that Dolores keeps dropping.
Moving on.
I think because I have the episode playing here on the computer on HBO Go, and I think I've zoomed in on the browser, and I think it's condensed milk.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
It's like Maiden. It says Maiden something.
Milk seems to be a theme.
Yeah, so I believe it's condensed milk. I don't know. So anyway,
I think in the Old West, people did drink a lot of milk.
Right? Yeah.
It's all cows.
There's not many options. It's milk, water, or whiskey.
But this is the thing. Here's another thing I don't understand. If she's bringing home a can of condensed, why is she bringing home a can of condensed milk?
Why not?
Part of her script.
They have bottles and bottles of fresh milk.
And she does have a herd of cows
at her house.
Yeah, but they need a reason for her to go into town so that she can be interacted with.
Unless the guy is drinking like bull jizz or something, and they don't have any cows.
Maybe they're all steer. There are no cows.
Yeah, exactly. And Trevor thinks it's milk, but it's actually jizz, and that's why he's spitting it out.
So, and also, not only are the humans robots, also they manufacture the horses and cows, right?
Right.
They're all robots too.
Oh yeah, I was confused by that for a second. Not only are the humans robots, I didn't know where you were going with that for a second.
I've lost my mind.
Oh yeah, the animals. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. At one point, Anthony Hopkins and Bernard, the head of programming, are talking, and Anthony Hopkins says, "We can cure any disease. Maybe we'll resurrect the dead." And then he eventually says, "As good as we're gonna get. Maybe it's as good as we're gonna get. Maybe there's no updates left. Maybe we've done it all." And they talk about playing God and all that stuff. But that's interesting when they said that we can cure any disease. So I was thinking. I mean, I'm pretty sure both of you are thinking this, that maybe all of the staff are also robots.
I wasn't thinking all, but I was thinking that some, maybe, and it was like a mystery, like who, it's going to be like a twist, almost like Battlestar Galactica, like who is a Cylon.
Right.
I was thinking that they're all maybe robots.
I was thinking, like maybe they're like a higher echelon of robot that maybe is so far advanced that they forget that they themselves are robots. Like, it's almost like a myth.
What if they're aliens, right? And they have just observed humanity, and now what they found that that Old West part of American history is kind of like a favorite among their species, and so they've created this theme park for basically aliens to come and live in this moment.
Seems like a stretch to me, but. Anything
fuck
could happen.
You too.
Well, moving on.
What about a guy who wants to bang a horse? Is he allowed in there?
That's a good question.
I don't think they're going to cover that.
That is a valid question.
That's for
That's
Deep
why
Web
That's
Westworld.
why Dr. Robert Ford designed this place.
So, the Men in Black.
The guy
Men in
does
Black.
say, like, oh, you know her? She's like a 6 in Westworld.
Oh, she's a 2, he says.
She's a 2, yeah.
The hot stewardess or whatever.
It's like, they're banging,
Yeah.
it's like, this is nothing, man. Wait till we get to the outer limits. That's where you bang the horses.
Oh, man, and that is amazing. And that guy is, like, very open sexually.
Hold on.
See. So
Second
he's
episode.
definitely
We're on the
onto
first
horses.
still.
Yeah, oh, sure. Sorry.
So, Man in Black shows up again. We're gonna get through it. So, he shows up. He goes to the
Bangs a
tavern,
horse.
starts gambling. Does not bang a horse. He, at the end of the night, after I guess the tavern's closing, this
Horse
one
time.
this one guy
Off to the stables.
this one host who is at the poker tables, he's leaving for the night, and the dealer pats him down, takes away the chips he stole, and then the host leaves, and the Man in Black stabs him. Or
Yes.
he doesn't stab him, he actually cuts his throat and makes him bleed. And he drags him out to the desert, and he gets 3 buckets of blood from this guy. We don't know what he's using the blood for, and then eventually he scalps the guy.
Yes.
And under his scalp, there's this weird symbol. So I think
Yes.
maybe that's like a map? The
It's a
symbol?
maze.
It's a maze.
Right,
which
because he says...
we don't know
if it's
after
me.
the first episode exactly what we're looking at, but then in the second episode we realize it's a maze because that's what he's looking for, this maze.
Right, so...
And we'll get into that. That's the second episode.
Yeah, basically the Man in Black is sort of playing some other game, like a deeper game that maybe nobody else really has gotten noticed about, or noticed, I don't know.
Well, the show makes a great point at, like, especially at the end of the second episode, Anthony Hopkins, I know we're jumping ahead, but, Lee, he produced, what is it, like Odyssey on Red River or whatever? And
Yeah.
he's like, oh, it's going to be amazing, you're going to be people, cannibalism, blah, blah, blah. And then Anthony Hopkins is like, no. And he's like, it's about the subtlety. And I think, like, his whole speech there is kind of a metaphor for the show, because I know a lot of people watching this are just be like, oh, it's just all TNA. What is this crap? So it seems like he's making the promise, like, there's a really subtle story that's going to be happening that I hope the show does as well.
Yeah, I think so.
and
Because right
Yeah.
now you could make the case, like, it's just a bunch of sex and violence and stuff, like, just to be in your face because it's HBO,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I mean, and it might still be that, but we know that Anthony Hopkins' character, Dr. Robert there, he has been working on this story for quite some time, he says. So, he wants to go to, like, a deeper level. There's something... I think there's something very personal that's going to be going on with his story.
Yeah.
But,
I think his ultimate goal is to have the robots be led to whatever maze or whatever store he's doing so that they do become self-aware and leave. Because he does want to, like, create life, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
For all
finish.
we know,
Hold on, let's finish the
he's a
first
robot.
episode. So, 2 simultaneous storylines start happening. They're planning this big event to get rid of a bunch of robots, basically kill them off so they can fix them and fix the update, because they're all getting,
That's right.
I guess, they're all broke and issues are coming up. And then, Peter Abernathy, Dolores' father, finds a picture in the dirt. And he starts staring at it all night. The picture, it looks like there's, like, cars and tall buildings in the background.
It looks like a woman standing in Times Square.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, something like that.
Doesn't mean
But I was
anything
trying
to me.
If you see it, Dexter, try and zoom in on that, because I was trying to see, is that like a future Times Square? Or is it like a future city?
Oh, that's good, yeah. I don't think they
question.
give us a really good picture of it, but it's obviously some kind of car and buildings and lights and shit. Anyway, so Peter Abernathy stares at that all night. Dolores looks at it. She doesn't think it doesn't mean anything to her, right, Dexter? And Peter Abernathy stays up all night looking at this thing and basically screws him up. And then, meanwhile, in town, well, actually, before that, let's say, go back to Peter Abernathy. Abernathy.
Well, actually, it's really cool, that part, because when she talks to him after that, it's like he's really he's like he's like struggling so hard
to understand
to stay on track.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was supposed to ask a question. You had an answer. Well, this kind of stuff, and he's just like staring at the picture.
And then he speaks to Dolores and he whispers to her. You don't know what he whispers, and that's where that's story sort of ends, and then you go to town, where there's, I guess they created this script where there's bandits coming into town, they're shooting up all the robots so they can take them out and update them, and one of the tourists ends it early before the main bandit makes his speech, and Lee was upset
he's like,
because he wanted to hear the
wait
speech.
till you hear the speech that this guy's gonna give. It's gonna fuck your mind up, and then that guy, he gets killed.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's
did
wrong
you
with
notice
the
the
neck,
music?
honey?
The music was fantastic.
Yeah, an orchestral version of Paint It Black.
Yeah,
That was cool.
And you know who? Ramin Djawadi, or however you pronounce his name.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'm
Djawadi.
pronouncing it incorrectly. Yeah, the guy who does the music for Game of Thrones and protege of Hans Zimmer. He does the music for this show too. It's awesome.
Nice. He's going to be doing a Game of Thrones live concert, I think in 2017.
Really?
Remember with Lord of the Rings, they would
Yeah.
do the live orchestra as a music plays? I think they're going to be doing something similar.
Do you know what episode they're going to play?
Let me see. I don't know.
Or is
Maybe
it like the entire first season? You got to sit there for 10 hours.
Fuck. It's probably going to be like playing like key scenes, like probably the Battle of the Bastards, and maybe like the opening episode where like they arrive at Winterfell or something. I don't know.
At Westworld.
At Westworld.
Right, so after the gunfight, they're cleaning up all the robots in the facility, and they're inspecting them, and the
Kissing them.
The head of security starts speaking to Dolores, and then Anthony Hopkins and the head of programming are speaking to Peter Abernathy. And now let's start with Dolores, because I think some big things happen here. Basically, the head of security guy asks her, what her father whispered to her. And I noticed that, they tell the robots, emotional affect off, things like that.
Right,
so
lose the
they'll
accents,
just
all
sit
that
there
kind of
prone,
shit.
and they'll answer, without moving anything else.
Yeah.
Dolores, after he asked one of the questions, he asked about what her father whispered to her, and I think she gave an explanation, and he asked her if she would ever lie, that kind of thing. Dolores.
Does she tell him? Does she tell him?
I forget exactly what happened, but I know.
Because at one point he says to her, before he whispers in her ear, he says, he's like, you have to go, you have to leave, don't you know what's happening? All this kind of stuff. And he says, hell is empty, all the demons are here.
Yeah. Didn't we also find out she's
Hold
the
on.
original?
Hold on. Big thing.
We find out she's the oldest robot there. But anyway, sorry, continue, boss.
When he's asking her questions, I forget what question. I think it was a question about what her father said to her and if she'd ever lie. Before she answers, she blinks, and there's no reason why she would blink. Flies crawl on their eyes when they're in that state, when they're just motionless, and they don't do anything. They don't blink or anything. She blinked before she answered. But then the interesting thing after that, even more interesting, was that he said, "Would you ever hurt another living thing?"
Right.
She didn't blink or anything, and she said, "No, of course not." So that makes me think that maybe these guys sort of are robots.
Well, she says she wouldn't hurt another living thing, and then at the end of the episode, she kills a fly.
That's true.
Right.
Maybe it's
Assuming,
not. Maybe the fly's
assuming
a
that the fly is real.
Right, here's the thing. So, in that same episode, we see what's his name, James Marzipan or whatever his name is, Jason Marsden, when he's with that group of dudes, like having an orgy together that we were alluding to earlier.
Fuck yeah!
He's outside the door, like hanging out. He's like their guide or whatever. And then you see, like, he's just sitting there smirking, and a fly lands on him. He doesn't even notice.
Yeah.
And then you see later, Rachel Evan Wood's character, she kills
Falls on
the
her
fly.
pupil in the beginning of it.
Yeah. Later on in the second episode, which we're going to get to, I know I'm jumping ahead, but it's significant here because these two dudes who are in the whatever quote-unquote real world, they reference something going on, and they say, oh, maybe that's why we're getting all these flies. So the flies are real.
Yes. Some flies are real. Me and Boss were speculating that maybe the flies are actually little cameras that fly around.
Yeah.
That's how they keep track of everything.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Why don't we see fly cam then?
I think we do, when they're holding the little iPad and they're looking at the scenes playing out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Aren't those iPads cool? Because you tilt, or the tablet, whatever, you tilt it, and then it changes the camera angle.
Yeah, and you could
Yeah.
fold it up. I don't know if you noticed, the guy was like folding it up like
really?
paper. Yeah.
That's awesome. We're so close to that technology, I feel like.
So I'm giving you guys some homework and our listeners. If you watch
Okay.
episode 1 again, pay attention to when Dolores blinks when the security guy is interrogating her at the end of the episode, because I think that was a
Yeah, that's
very
interesting.
interesting, purposeful blink thrown in there. And
Okay.
then we'll talk about the last part. Basically, Anthony Hopkins is talking to Peter Abernathy, who's a way screwed up robot right now. I think he's like amazing in this part. He's super scary, Peter Abernathy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That actor did such an amazing job.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
fantastic.
He plays a perfect fucked up robot.
Yeah, that was great.
Now, do you think they are doing like effects to make them more jittery sometimes?
No,
Because he really does like movements that it's like, oh, that looks artificial. Like,
I don't think so.
really?
Oh, you know what?
I think that was all him.
The
That's a
actor's
great
name
job.
is Louis Hertham, just in case anyone's interested. And he's in the show Longmire, which I've never watched, but he was in True Blood also. Anyway.
I'm hoping that he's in the show more.
Yeah. He looks like John Hamm in this photo.
Well, I don't think... I mean, he may come back later for now, because they basically retired him, which is where you were going to go, boss. And you see him being led to this area, which... This was weird to me. Well, but you want me to wait, boss? Or you want me to go?
No, I
there
guess
now?
under the facility it's just where they
Yeah.
have cold storage of their old hosts, the robots.
Yes, but cold storage is malfunctioning, and it's not so cold.
Yeah, I don't know.
But then they're just like, oh yeah, it's not really working, and it's like, well, are you gonna fix it? I don't
Exactly.
understand what's going on. And then,
Nah.
I don't. They just seem to be fine with the fact that
Right.
these people are gonna start getting
And
stinky.
wasn't it 83 floors down?
Something
Yeah.
crazy?
I think
yeah,
that was
because,
a reference to the original because it took place in 1983.
Oh
If
no!
it is 83
oh yes,
floors.
it did. Say, and the movie, the TV movie, came out in 1973, so that was only
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah, they thought in
Into the
10 years
future.
they'd be able to have a theme park. Well, you know what? Kind of do.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, and they bring him down to cold storage. Also, you see he's crying at that part when they
Yes.
bring Peter Abernathy in. He's
Yeah.
crying. It's
Then-
very interesting.
Something else interesting, we know that the programmers, they have, like, I guess certain phrases that they say to the hosts that make them do certain things, like fall asleep and everything. But the head of
Yeah.
programming, Bernard, at the end, he whispers something to Peter Abernathy. Who knows what he's
Bernard
saying?
does?
Yes!
He whispers, and we
Yes.
don't hear it.
No, you don't hear it
Oh, interesting. I
when
don't
they're in
remember
cold
that.
storage.
Well, and here's the thing. This leads into episode 2 because I'm going to jump ahead here just because I don't want to forget this bit. So if Bernard's whispering something to Peter Abernathy, at the beginning of episode 2, it's Bernard's voice, and he says, "Wake up, Dolores."
Is it Bernard's
Dolores,
voice?
It is Bernard's voice.
Because I didn't know.
And
I
Dolores
listened to
wakes
it
up, and
twice
this
and I couldn't
happens.
tell.
Yeah, it's his voice because I watched it. I only watched it 2 times, but it's got to be. I'm pretty sure it's his voice.
Pretty
I'm
sure.
usually pretty good at picking those things up, but
You
so
tell
anyway,
us,
so
listeners.
this happens a number of times, and then you see also in the second episode Bernard having these kind of secret meetings with Dolores. Have you told anybody about what we've talked about? All these kind of things, and she's behaving strangely, and at first you think he's trying to, just as the SWAT team guy in the first episode was talking to Dolores about what happened and all this kind of stuff. Would you hurt a living thing, etc. You kind of figure, well, maybe Bernard's doing the same kind of thing. He's just for his own purposes, examining her or whatever. But it doesn't seem like that when you think about it, because she's still acting strangely, and and then she keeps. I just get the impression that he now, especially after what you said, he is doing something to them. Maybe he is a proponent of something here. Maybe he's putting these real-world items in here. I don't know what's going on, but there's something going on with him and his effect on these androids.
Hold on.
You think he planted
Let's
the
do.
photo?
Hold on. Let's do.
I know I jumped ahead, but I had to get that out
let's
before I forgot.
Start episode 2. So if you want, you can cut this into 2 episodes. I think you should put up 2.
All right.
Just for more
Whatever you want.
videos.